two. It's the motherfucking Money Buddha. It's the Money Buddha show. You know. It's the Money Buddha show. Whoa. Let me get some.
Fuck it over, go.
New track, Money Buddha. Ching chong. Oh yeah. Watch me. It's too clean. It's too easy to be anything that you want. It's too easy. It's easy. Just do what I know.
Damn, bro, you gonna make that bit?
Nigga, just what you gon' know. Working in this bitch just for something. E-man in that bitch, I'm on. Fuck 'em on that bitch, yeah, I'm on. Woo! I can't get y'all too much, man. I can't get too much. Now I'm teasing. Shit. Nah, this song's too hot. Too hot. It's too hot. Nah, that thing too hot. Yeah, that thing too hot. And then that bitch, yeah, I'm a that thing glee. That thing glee right there. That's that shit. I be making that money. It be like money, Mitch. You gotta have money making Mitch. So really dig what I'm doing. It's E-man in that bitch there I'm on. Let me see. Is I got a Yahoo open? No. I might gotta put a Yahoo. So how has everyone been? Was the market kind to you all this week? Friday was good. It ended up being a loss. I know very rare do I ever take a loss, but I actually took a loss on Friday. What? Should I bring out the psychologicals? Should I do a run by a special? Should I do a special trade breakdown? Being that I'm not in that position anymore, I don't know if I will be getting in that position ever again. Cause I'm on to bigger, better things. Even though now watch it go up. Don't you hate that? Cause really I had other things to do, but I got out the position. You can't never be afraid to get out the position. Cause look, it ended up zeroing out. Oh my God. This thing's gonna go green. Yep, it's going green on the 5-day. It went red one little click. My dumbass fucking sells it because I wanted to move on. I'm on to something else. I'm on to this Warner Brother. This guy. I don't even really want to say it because I don't want y'all motherfuckers even fucking. But I think this is where the money's at right now. Call it what you want. Call it what you need. Call me what you need. I believe. I was listening to I already believed it was a great deal. Everyone keeps saying it's a terrible deal. I know it's a great deal. You're talking, and then when I listened to the CEO, the same points that I articulated and illustrated were the same points that he articulated and illustrated. So we're in one of accord. You know what I mean? Like they have the biggest IP. The bank's calling me. Must have did all right. What's that guy say? He say, motherfucker, when I was down 10,000, I was calling the bank. When I was down 10 million, the bank was calling me. Yeah, me, the motherfucking bank want to know how I'm doing, want to finance me again. All right, so I forgot who quoted that, but that's how it be. Anyway, dog, the Warner Brother Discovery deal. Oh my God. I mean, like, do we need to? I think that might be what the special is on. This is a Warner Brother Discovery deal. How can I even change the title? There we go. Can you edit the down? No, that's not gonna look good. See, and then this algorithm on this YouTube shit is so weird. You gotta type things all weird and shit to make it pop. That's it, Warner Brothers Discovery deal. putting it all backwards. And it's now the ninth. I mean, will it work? We shall see. I think that's a hot update. We're getting the hang of this shit. All right. Put this mic all on my fucking face, bro. All right. I wish you all could see the mic. There we go. I think that'll work. All right. So, the Warner Brother fucking Discovery deal, bro. Come on, matter of fact, where is it at? YouTube. I don't want to fuck up one of my YouTubes. Like, where is that? Where is that CEO, dog? It was just a little quick little hot like there. I think it was this one. They was trying to fuck with my nigga.
Do you remember the last
Because
time
this stupid ass CNBC, scammer ass
Pebble?
CNBC don't want nobody to
And
make
you
no
weren't able
money.
to really comment on
Right here, this shit.
CNN Plus and what was going to happen. Now we know.
Fucking faggot.
I just want to. Can you tell us any more
whoa.
about
I don't like this
what
guy.
happened? I guess you want to look forward. You don't want to look back.
He's always like,
That was a
fucking look
little
how he
bit,
be talking, bro. He
I
trying
don't
to
know
fuck
whether
with
it's
the money.
surprising.
Being a hater.
But
Look
it
how
was
my
very
dude
quick. Were
looking
you
ice
sending
cold.
a message about
Look
how
how
you're
my
gonna
CEO
manage
looking right now.
this company with that, and why'd they launch? Were you unable to say anything before then? Did they rush it? What really happened, David? Can you tell us now? Now that it's in the past?
Shut up. You don't need to know.
Look,
Nigga, go get your own company
I think
one
it's
day, you
appropriate
loser.
that they
I hate that
were
shit,
running
man.
their business.
Same thing with this
You know,
YouTube shit. You
under the
motherfuckers
laws,
be hating on a
right,
nigga.
until you own a
Hating on
business.
people's
You can't
YouTube.
do
People that
hating
own
on
it get to decide
supporting
what to do with it.
individuals
Right.
and shit, but you motherfuckers
We're very
ain't
focused
done
on
a damn
CNN.
thing.
We
Shut the
believe
fuck
CNN
up.
is,
And like and subscribe,
is a
you
critical
bitch ass
asset
niggas.
to us. It's a leader in news gathering around the world. We're focused on you have most of the cable networks, news networks around the world, and here in the U.S., they're advocacy networks. They're advocacy networks to the left. They're advocacy networks to the right. Yeah. And we think there's a real opportunity for CNN.
You have the right. Remember, John Malone said maybe hire some journalists. That might be the first idea.
We don't need no journalists. We don't, you know what I mean,
Poland,
the knowledge from the
Ukraine,
people.
and Russia right now.
You keep going over there to sell the strengths of
So
CNN.
what? That's where all the money is at
We
right
have
now.
great strengths here.
Okay.
I think we have more journalists in the U.S. than anyone else. But what we're going to do, what Chris Licht is going to do, is as there are networks here that are advocating right and left, Chris is going to be advocating for truth. He's going to be advocating for facts. He's going to be advocating for journalism first. And I think, I think there's a very big lane for CNN. I think people in America they're looking for a place where people aren't yelling and giving opinions, and they're looking for more news. And so that's what you'll see from CNN. On CNN Plus, there was no message. It was a business decision.
Right.
We looked at it, and we looked at the data, the number of users. They had spent an enormous amount of money trying to sell an independent product. The subscribers weren't there. The users weren't there. We looked at it together. We had a chance to look at all the data. And when we looked at the data, it was the business wasn't there.
You fire McKinsey? Those numbers were a little, they were a little pie in the sky, would you say, what was possible? Did you send a message by cutting your losses there and saying that's just the way it's going to be for the rest of the business? When I need to do something, I'm going to do it?
If we saw good numbers and we thought that there was a real market for an independent news service for $6, we would have driven that as a real business. Right. Philosophically, we thought, having been in business in Europe now for the last 10 years in direct-to-consumer, that simple for consumers is easier. And so we tried independent sport. We tried independent products. And in the end, we landed that putting it all together in one product with more value was what worked best.
Does that mean putting Discovery Plus and HBO Max together?
We will. We will come to market with one product.
Everything. CNN mixed in.
You know, we're going to decide what we do with CNN.
Yeah.
But there will be some of CNN's news product on there. There already is, and we're going to make an announcement today on more that will be on there. Right. But we will have one product, and I think it's going to be really compelling because it's Netflix has a great product, Disney has a terrific product, but the diversity of content that we have, whether it's the great HBO content, the great library content, Friends, Big Bang Theory, the great movies, the biggest movie library, and then we have food, HG, Discovery, Oprah, Chip and Joanna Gaines. And when we put that all together, I think we're going to see something that will appeal to everyone in the family. And we've gotten some hints on it. HBO Max is doing great and has tremendous appeal. Huge audiences come in. We don't get that kind of audience at Discovery Plus.
It makes a difference, yeah.
20 million people, 10 million, 25. And in Discovery Plus, we have very low churn, and we're still doing very nicely. So together, we think we're going to have a great product.
There we go. See, you heard him. You heard him. Let's see what he's saying right here. I didn't even see this video. See what I mean, dog? This is the Discovery Hour, man. We fucking with Discovery right now.
He leads the company that operates 4 of the most popular cable channels for women, producing a wealth of content.
4 of the most popular cable channels for women.
After helping to
you know it's game over.
And CNBC, David Zaslav took the helm at Discovery in 2007, where he moved quickly to streamline the company and relaunch channels so he could take it public all within the span of a year. Since then, Discovery's market cap has quadrupled. And now, Discovery is coming to terms with a new world, one where viewers increasingly turn to streaming services for their programming and are moving away from Discovery's core business of traditional cable channels, leading Zaslav to make the biggest deal of his life, betting once again on content. On this edition of Bloomberg Big Decisions, David Zaslav.
David Zaslav, thank you for joining us. Great to have you.
Great to see you.
Oh, he got that Lacoste on. He got that Lacoste on. And my nigga rocking that Lacoste. What you know about that Lacoste, nigga?
Well, it's interesting.
Oh,
there's
my
financial
nigga
reason,
Glebe.
and there's also
this
a
nigga Davey
strategic,
Glebe,
drive
baby.
that we think could really work.
Don't let us down, man.
We're in the cable and free-to-air business. Scripps
Go on and lead this company to the future,
so
baby.
We both do.
That's all you got to do, man. Get your team. Get a team for a team for your team for your team. That's all you got to do.
So we feel that we're quite comfortable in putting these two companies
fucking up,
together.
Bro. Get a team for your team for your team for your team.
The synergy gives us the opportunity
people
to,
watching people watching people watching
have
other
a target
people.
of doubling our free cash flow.
That's all you got.
So we generate about 1.4 billion in free cash flow. Scripps generates about 8, and we think we can get to 2, 8, or 3 through revenue synergies by coming up with a lot of cost synergy, mostly cost synergy. And so in a turbulent time, if we can emerge with almost $3 billion of cash, it creates like a moat in a turbulent time. We're different than most media companies in the world, and there are a lot of great companies. But whether it's Disney or whether it's Rupert or Comcast, NBC, CBS, they're mostly in the scripted and movie business. Netflix, Amazon, that whole side of the business is focusing on, as if it was a soccer field, the ball is scripted series and scripted movies. So it's very crowded, it's getting very disrupted, and you know, the number of scripted series have gone from 200 to over 500. And Apple and Amazon and Netflix alone are spending almost $20 billion on top of these companies. So we look at that and we say that we're not that. We're on the other side of the business. The other side of the business is we own all of our content. It's real life entertainment. We see ourselves as a global IP company, whether it's with Oprah, with Discovery, with Animal Planet, with ID and crime or science or cars. And with Scripps having food and HG and cooking and travel, we put it all together now, and we're on a different area of the field. And so we say very good luck to them. I think there's a lot of great companies. It's going to be very disrupted. And our game is to take those great brands around the world, and as people over the next few years look to pull content onto devices and phones, we think the functional value of food, home, cooking, science, cars, that we'll do better, or we have a chance to do better, than if if somebody was going to pay to watch The Crown on a mobile phone. So a lot of it is about owning IP and figuring out a way to get to mobile where people will pull your content.
Well, let's talk about getting to mobile, because that's the big disruption everybody in media is talking about as a practical matter. How will this help you get to scale, as it were?
Well, we're about 20% of the viewership in the U.S. at any given time. And we have 4 of the top 6 or 7 cable channels for women with HG, Food,
I know
ID,
you all seeing this. Come on, man.
TLC.
It's gotta make you feel
and
good.
then we have OWN, that's #1 for African American women. So I think we have a great menu to offer to an advertiser. Discovery is in 220 countries. We have an average of 10 channels in every country in the world. So we're kind of a factory machine of driving IP all around the world. And so we could do what very few media companies could do. We could do a global offering of food. We could do a global offering of all of our content.
In this new world of streaming, will viewers be watching for platforms like HGTV or Discovery, or will they be looking for programs like The Crown, like Game of Thrones?
Well, it's hard to tell behaviorally exactly what people are going to do. But by doing this deal and generating free cash flow and taking a look at the assets that we have, by owning science globally, by owning every piece of IP that we own effectively, except for sports, we're long IP. We've spent a lot of money to own it on all platforms, and that gives us the opportunity. If Amazon said, I'd like to do an offering globally, the only other media company that could do that would be Disney, and it would be in the kids space. And so we would raise our hand and say, terrific, we have a great family offering. And so for us, it's about the long tail. And we think in the end, people that love food are going to pull it. We're not sure exactly how it's going to work, but we think the fact that we own all of our content and we have passionate viewers that they love us like they love a sports team. They'll come home and they put on HG all day long, or they'll put on Food. And so we have a sustainable growth business with our synergy. And then we have all this IP that we could take direct to consumer, and we've started to do it.
Can you win in streaming without going through the bundlers? I mean, do you have to be on Hulu? Do you have to be on YouTube? Or can you do it directly? Is your product strong enough?
We don't know. Everywhere else in the world, we're on almost every skinny bundle. Here in the U.S., we're in most of them. We're not on Hulu, and we're not on YouTube, but we're on most of the others. And people love our channels. And so, one, we think that over time we'll get on those skinny bundles. We hope to. We'd like to partner with our distributors because they helped us build our business. And in many cases we are. We're partnering with AT&T on DirecTV Now. We partner with Brian on Comcast on his offerings, with Charter. So that's the best way to do it, kind of regionally. But there is an opportunity for us to go direct to consumer ourselves, which we're already doing in a number of areas, in cars and in sports. But we could also go to those big companies. If you take a look at what NBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox spent 3 years ago, and how much is being spent by Amazon, Netflix, Apple, and Google, there's a massive amount of share shift that's going on there. And these are real global companies, the likes of which we've never seen before. So if any one of those companies wanted to offer for $5.99 a compelling family-friendly service, we would either be most of it, we would argue we'd like to be most of it, or we could be all of it and see how it goes. Because anywhere you go in the world and you say Discovery or Animal Planet or ID or Oprah, people know our brands and they value them.
How will you make that decision about whether you go direct to consumer or you go through middlemen, essentially? How do you make that decision as CEO?
Well, look, right now it's not a fair fight because the direct-to-consumer businesses, the Netflix, the Amazons, we in media used to trade at about a 14 multiple because the view was that this great dual revenue stream cable and free-to-air business would go on forever. And the view now is that it's getting disrupted by some of these direct-to-consumer platforms that are global. There's a question of who's going to emerge and be the winner. We think, looking now, it's only the second or third inning, but we've carved out a very compelling spot of quality brands that people love, that we can offer globally, and we could offer them ourselves.
You stepped up big time on sports. That was a variation from what people had expected from you. Why does that make sense for you? You talk about disruption in media. There was a time not too long ago when you were the disruptor in chief, in some sense. I watched you from Capital Cities ABC across the street as you created MSNBC at NBC. You created CNBC. How does this compare with that disruption when you disrupted broadcast? Basic cable came in and really disrupted it. How does it compare? What did you learn from that experience you can apply now?
Patience. In that case, Jack Welch and Bob Wright were committed to try and take the broadcast business into cable. For people that were around at that time, it was pretty unusual. And it's important because the business that you think you're going to launch that's going to work is never the business that works. The audience is always going to tell you what they get nourished by. And that's what our business is about. That's what most businesses are about. When we launched with Oprah, the Oprah Winfrey Network, we had a dream, Oprah and I, that it was going to be about living your best life. And we looked strategically at the space and said, we can do this. But when we went out with the content, Super Soul Sunday worked terrific, but a lot of the other stuff was too earnest and the audience went away. And we had to figure out, what are they going to come back for? And it took us a lot of years, but we started to listen. What do you like? That's what our business is about. We don't want everyone to watch, but the Oprah Winfrey Network now is the #1 network for African American women. So for us now, we've broken our company in half, essentially. We got half the company that's about growing our channels, doing what we believe we can do as well or better than anyone in the world. Then there's a whole group that has to figure out, okay, how do I get over the top? What do people want when they consume content over the top, you know? And I think you have to be willing to recognize failure and use it kind of optimistically. Good, we know that now.
And you can do it without the blockbusters.
The way people watch our channels, it is hit driven if you're a broadcast network. The way people watch our channels, they come home and HG gets me. Discovery is my channel. TLC in Middle America is the channel that I love. I love Oprah, that's the channel that I watch. That's how they curate. Where do I get nourished? That's the business that we're in. We think that's going to be sustainable, and we think that ultimately they could either pull one of those really big, expensive platforms, or when they're looking to pull something that they want that's family friendly, with brands they know, characters they know, everywhere in the world, for a lot less than they would have to pay for that, we look different. And we got to, over time, we'll see if it's an aggregated offering, if it's an individual offering, but I think we got a game. But the first thing we got to do is execute on this.
You stepped up big time on sports. That was a variation from what people had expected from you. Why does that make sense for you?
Well, first, we're in every country. So when I say we're in every country, we have a sales team, we have a distribution team, we have creative people, we have marketing people, and we have strategic people. So we kind of know each country. And so when we looked at sports, Eurosport was not being individually fed into every country across Europe. So when we bought Eurosport several years ago, we looked and said, we can use our sales infrastructure. We could use our distribution infrastructure to drive more carriage. We could use our sales and marketing people. And it was a little bit of a leap, but it was driven by the idea that content used to be about getting inside of the television box, that rectangle. And even if you had content that was just okay, second or third choice, you did okay. When we launched our direct-to-consumer sports player 3 years ago in Europe, so we reach across 750 million people in Europe. We have the tennis, we have the cycling, we have the winter sports, we have summer sports, we have the Olympics. So we figured we have a great offering. 750 million people, $8, we should be able to do terrific. And we wrote 10 things that we thought we knew for sure. 8 of them were wrong. And the users told us. They said, okay, you know, we tuned in for the French Open, but we didn't want to watch Tour de France. We love tennis. Or they told us that maybe the most interesting takeaway that we applied to the Olympics is that when people consume content on a device, they expect to hit the device when they get up in the morning and see content. And then they expect a few hours later to hit that device. You need to multiple publish. So if speed skating is starting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the people that love speed skating have to get up in the morning and see a 1-minute video or 2 1-minute videos or some information about, and we downloaded 700 pieces of short-form content in 21 languages every day to our Olympic player. And that's one of the reasons why we were able to aggregate about 500,000 subscribers. They love the sports IP, But they really, when people look at content on a device, they expect to be entertained and nourished whenever they hit it. And if you hit it and nothing is new, you're disappointed.
Can you do that and not step up into the really high-priced sports projects? Because that, to some extent, sounds a little bit like ESPN in the United States in the early days. They had lesser sports, and then they had to get in the NFL, they had to get in the NBA, and that, as you know, costs enormous amounts of money. Can you have a strategy that stops short of that?
Well, opportunistically, we have taken football. But we haven't taken football where we get in a bidding war with anyone. If you want to offer your content on a pan-European basis, there's only one place to do it, us. Or if you're a federation, if you're the Speed Skating Federation, you could sell it in every country. And the difference between the U.S. and Europe is in the U.S., it's one culture, one language, and everybody likes the same four sports, essentially. 90% of viewing, 80% of viewing is football, baseball, basketball, hockey. In Europe, there's a lot of sports that are number one in Northern Europe that are number 10 in Southern Europe. And if you're a federation, we're the one stop. And we've been very effective about getting a lot of content. And all the sports content we have with Eurosport, we've, as much as we can, we've gotten it long term, and we own it on all platforms.
You have scripts, as you say, you need to execute on that now. But is that enough for Discovery? Are you on the outlook for further acquisitions?
I know y'all are hearing this, man.
This is news,
this nigga doing this
but
thing.
not as you know it. This is TikTok
He need to do another
by
one of
Bloomberg,
these.
the first and only
week.
global news
I wanna hear
network
what he
built
gotta
for
say
Twitter.
For now, recent
24/7 news, streaming live on Twitter.
That's where they fuck up at. See, that's why I'm starting to give y'all more updates, man. I'm updating y'all all the time on the money to all my people. Shouts out. Matter of fact, shouts out to my new subscriber.
You have scripts, as you say, you need to execute on
There's
that
a new
now.
subscriber.
But
a young
is that
lady, I
enough
forgot
for
your name,
Discovery?
young
Are you
lady.
on the outlook
Make sure
for
if you're
further
watching this
acquisitions?
video,
Do you
comment
need to
below.
get bigger scale?
So I'll pin you.
Well, look, as I
We
said
got new
earlier,
subscribers.
we're
Shouts
in a
out to
different
the
place
Money
of the
Blue
soccer
family.
field than
Welcome,
everyone
welcome.
else. So we think if we could execute on this, own all those passion brands globally.
Shouts out to all my
Scripps
subscribers
never
that
took
are already subscribers.
food and
watching. I be
HG
seeing
and
you.
cooking and
Y'all
travel
need to
around the world.
participate.
So we have an opportunity to take all that IP, we'll convert it into 48 languages, and we'll start to spread it around. So that'll be a revenue synergy if viewership increases, and we think it will. In Latin America, we've bought some of their content. But I like our hand here. We got some work to do. We got to pay down some debt. We got to prove out that we're going to generate that free cash flow and that we really did build a moat. But at the same time, we're going to be working really hard about learning how consumers consume content on devices. And we're talking to every distributor because we're better off if somebody that's already in business with you and you're already paying a $100 bill can then have a chance to check a box and pick us. Today in the U.S., there's probably 25 or 30 million subscribers that are broadband only. The one service that's being marketed to them heavily is Netflix. And the industry built us, we built them, and together I think we're going to come up with something that's going to be pretty compelling in terms of a skinny bundle, because it's not sensible to have Netflix have all that field without us on it.
You said you need to pay down some debt because you do have more debt on your balance sheet than a lot of other media companies do. You said you're going to save $350 million a year on Scripps. How are you going to do that? That's a lot of money, as you and I both know, to save in an operation.
See how they keep hating? Stop hating, nigga. You go get your own company and you worry about
It's only been 5 weeks. But we've been working on it very hard for 6 months going up to it.
Come on, man.
We think that's rather conservative. These are one-over-one companies. We have 12 channels in the U.S. They have 6. So we're in the same business. We have 220 research people. They have 140 research people. We have 650 salespeople. They have 550 salespeople. And their people are really good. We put some of their people in charge in our new structure. And the idea is who are the best and the brightest? Because when we looked at it, we said when it comes to nonfiction, who are the best 2 producers of nonfiction content and who is best at monetizing it? And we looked and we said, in some areas they're better than us, in some areas we're better than them. We put these 2 together, and we will spend $3.5 billion on content, maybe growing to more than that. This is a hard business. We're in the business of creating stories and characters and getting people to turn on their TV and love it.
You've referred a couple of times to John Malone, who's a shareholder, doesn't control your company by any means, but you know him well. What is it like to have John Malone as somebody you can call up and say, should we do this, should we do that? What do you think about what's going on?
Well, you know, I think about my last 30 years in this business, and it's sort of like what you want for your children. You are who you hang out with. And it really helps define you, the narratives that you hear, the questions that you hear. And so I look back over the last 30 years and, 15 years listening to why Jack didn't want to do an acquisition that we brought him, or what we need to do with cable, or how we need to do it. Bob Wright, one of the most successful guys running NBC, the Newhouse family, Donald and Cy Newhouse, and Bob Myron, who's a genius and has been in the cable business and built Bright House, and John Malone. And so when I think about where people should be spending their time, yes, you'd like to get the right job. Yes, you'd like to think that you're going to make some money. But I took a 50% pay cut to go to NBC from a law firm because I thought I can get to hang out with the guys at the Peacock, and maybe someday I'll get to meet Jack. And a lot of the way I see the world, I still talk to Jack all the time. So I'm hearing Jack's voice, I'm hearing Bob Myron and Donald Newhouse's voice, and I'm hearing John's voice. And so for that alone, I'm one of the luckiest guys.
It strikes me that you're now running Discovery, which really appeals in the United States to a lot of the middle of the country. People that the President of the United States probably wouldn't object to. In fact, I understand the President of the United States is a fan of Shark Week. Actually, I read that someplace.
I hope he's a fan of a lot of our stuff. I think, I hope.
You helped create MSNBC. That is a channel in a very different place. What do you think about the media landscape today in the United States in terms of politics? Because it seems to become much more polarized.
Well, I can just say that the business changed. When we launched MSNBC, Brokaw and I and Andy Lack and Tom Rogers, there was a group of us, and Jack said, we're going to launch the best news network in America, and we're going to use the #1 news division in the world to do it. We had this amazing library. We structured a deal with Microsoft to get them in. They wanted the library at the time, and that was our ambition. I'm not going to game out the different news networks in America, but we have to be practical and recognize that at least some of them are following that model because you on the one hand you want to do the best journalism possible. On the other hand, you want people to watch you, and you want them to watch you for as long as possible. And part of the way we as human beings determine our success is, are we in third place? Are we in second place? How many people are watching us? How many people love us? And so I think that's the journey. And luckily, I'm not going to be one of the guys to figure that out.
Well, but let's talk about how you keep score. That leads us exactly to a great conclusion here. How do you keep score? I mean, I see that now you've jumped up in the rankings, actually, including broadcast and cable. Big step up with Scripps. Is that the way you keep score? Is that how you just tell whether you, David Zaslav, are succeeding?
No, because there's lots of books that have been written about, more scale tips you over. So we're staying in our lane. And what's going to be successful for us, and we've made this decision. On every one of our channels, we've said, if you don't love us, if you're not one of the passionate viewers that loves survival, if you're not one of the people that love science or that love crime, go find some other channels that you love. When we're creating content for our channels, we want global audiences that really affiliate and have a passion for our characters and our message. And a big piece of that is we're not going for the best rating. We're going for the most potent audience that says, they get me. When I go there, I see something that I love. And if we put something on any of these channels that looks like we're going for ratings, they'll immediately say, what's this doing on here? And so they're quite clever, and you just got to continue. This is what we do for a living. Figure them out on TV and try and figure them out in terms of the devices as to what they're going to love and what they're going to pay for.
David Zaslav, thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thanks, David. Good to see you.
I'm very pleased to welcome David Zaslav, the President and CEO of Discovery. So this is a large global company, and the media market today is as dynamic and competitive as it's ever been. How do you see Discovery fitting into this evolving media landscape, and what is your strategy?
So I think we have real upside in that we have scale, we have a fantastic engaged audience, And we have an audience that a lot of advertisers need to have. Many advertisers need to have HGTV because they're selling home products, or need to be on food or cooking because they're selling food products. So I think we have, even though I think we have the best performing ad sales team in the business, and we had a great upfront with a lot of upside, even in a declining universe, this equilibrium is starting to catch. And it's one of the reasons I was taking out ads for the last 4 months. We're #1 for women in America. It's because people can't believe it. And when advertisers seem to start to recognize that, and when clients start to recognize that you could reach 35 or 40% of women on a Sunday night by advertising with us, we have upside. The second piece of our strategy in the U.S. that I think is a big deal is we have this authenticated product called Go. And because we're not a broad entertainment service, we now have a huge number of people that have on their phones Food Go, and they watch Food Network content all day. HGTV Go, Discovery Go, ID Go. It's now generating a couple of $100 million for us. And it's also not Nielsen rated. So when you see that HGTV is down 8%, we might be up 1% when you count in the audience that's watching us on HGTV Go. And that audience is really monetizable because we get almost double the CPM. And so when I look at us versus the rest of the industry, I see this opportunity for us to continue to scale because we have brands that people love, that they spend time with, that we have a real upside in our CPM, and that unlike any other media company, we've aggregated these Go apps. And we look and we think in the next 2 to 3 years, our biggest cable network in America is going to be this Go platform. But it affirms that at an average age of 25 to 28, our content is very attractive to young people. So our business feels about as healthy as it's ever been. And we have some exciting stuff that we think that we could do that's really unique in terms of direct to consumer. So I think strategically we're very diversified and well positioned.
So let's talk a little bit more about direct-to-consumer. You've mentioned it a couple of times. It's very important to all media companies, especially today. When we look at the landscape, there's some companies, namely Netflix and Disney, that are going really broad, right? They're spending a lot of money on content. They have very deep offering of original and live.
I like that motherfucking outfit right there. That's some fucking shit I be wearing on there. He got that motherfucking hip shit. He hip. My nigga hip. He got the gleek on right there with the business gleek. He got the business swag gleek. 100 million mook. 100 million on the dollar on the mook, boy. CEO mook, big dollar mook, boy. I like that thing with the hoodie on the mook, boy. Nigga, he fucking gleeked up, boy. This nigga gleek.
In Europe with entertainment and with sports.
This nigga gleeked up, boy.
And with the Olympics. And we've learned a lot, and we've stumbled a lot and picked ourselves up. I don't think that we have the perfect recipe yet, but we've learned a few things. The Eurosport player, which is the buffet, it does nicely, but it's not a breakout. It's not in 20 million homes in Europe. There's a fair amount of churn. When we carry the French Open or Wimbledon, we get a huge number of people to come in. When we do Tour de France, we have a huge number of people to come in. And then a lot of them leave. So it's a bit, we're managing a business that's pretty nice business for us, but it's got enough churn that it's not breaking out. And in spending a lot of time trying to understand what's going on with Eurosport, we would talk to the people that buy it, and they would say, I really like it. I said, well, why did you leave? Well, I love tennis. I don't really love the cycling, or I don't love the Olympic sports, or handball's not my thing, or I don't really care that much about football. And so that led us to this idea of trying, rather than trying to buy a lot of IP that kind of nourishes people generically, like you would do on a broad cable channel, would we be more successful if we went very deep
Do you smell the perfume smelling stuff?
And the reason we bought golf is there's golf every week.
They smoke part of the
And
whole
it's
day.
live
They
4
put
days
that perfume
a week.
out for 'em.
And so we got rid of that issue of,
fucking up.
well, after the U.S. Open, they'll
cutting
churn
up.
out and come back for the Australian. So I don't know if we got it right, but we're learning. Then we bought Golf Digest because we found that people don't want to just watch the golf. People that love golf want to read about golf, and they want to buy things related to golf, and they want to learn
What you
about
buy
golf.
me this time?
And
Did
so
you give me the Jimmy
we think
John?
we can create an ecosystem ecosystem around people that love
Give
golf.
me Jimmy John.
And we can create an ecosystem about people that love the environment and natural history and science, and an ecosystem around food, and an ecosystem around home. And the holy grail for us is we're in these niches where not only do people view, but they transact. So when I say view and do, the rest of the industry is spending enormously to aggregate audiences to pay $5 to $15 to watch a great series or to watch a bunch of movies and try and hold them by getting enough series that they don't churn out. But that's all they do is they just view it. And that's the only way that you can monetize it. How many credit cards, how much money, what's the churn? In our baskets, we think we have this unique opportunity to kind of put it together. If we have the people that love golf around the world, or the people that love food around the world, or the people that love natural history and the environment and science, we have the ability, those people that love golf, they want to take a golf vacation in the UK. We bought Golf Digest. Here are the top 10 golf vacations. You hit a button, you take a golf vacation. It's transactional. I like what Rory and Tiger are wearing. You hit a button, and you can buy what they're wearing. Tiger just finished a great instructional video. And so in the end, if we can aggregate an audience for home or for food, if Joanna Gaines does 10 different home offices and you hit a button and you can buy the home office you like and it gets delivered to you. So not only are you getting entertained with this great content that you love, but it's also providing real value and utility in your life. And so I do think culturally, we are in a unique moment where we own a lot of this great content. And we're working on a lot of stuff, and if we're creative enough, and if we can hit the culture, I think that we could create a lot of value.
Yeah. So on this point about the commerce, I think it's very interesting, right? Because many of the other competitors in the streaming direct-to-consumer aren't very focused on this, as you said, and it's not necessarily a core competency of your company or really any media company to have a commerce or e-commerce sort of play. So maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the investments and how you're pivoting the company towards that type of model and what you're doing on the investment in the platform.
Well, first, our investment is really success-based. We're investing several $100 million right now. The good news for us is we own all of our content. So when most people are investing, they're out buying content. We own it all. So we're investing in 150 engineers in Seattle. One of the first lessons that we learned, and it took us a couple of years to learn it, is, at least for us, traditional media people weren't able to run these direct-to-consumer platforms. It wasn't the way they weren't thinking about SAC. They weren't thinking about churn. They weren't thinking about the flexibility of the consumer screen. They were thinking about long-form IP, where a lot of short-form IP works. And so what we've done is, if you look at our investment and how we're approaching direct-to-consumer, we hired the person that built Marketplace and worked at Amazon for 25 years. And we have the third in command, the third technology person from Amazon came over to work for us to build a global central platform that allows people to view,
you heard that,
transact,
and now he's still there.
Social.
He's still got to be there through the
short-form,
deal.
long-form.
Come on, this is going to be good, man.
The other thing we learned is
it's
we need
bottomed
great
out.
product people.
Come on, man. Look at the
And
charts.
great
Pull the
engineers,
chart.
and we need our own. We piggybacked on other platforms in the
we've heard
past.
enough.
But
Pull
then we
the
have to
chart.
call somebody else and say, hey,
Come on
here's
now,
what we
pull
heard
the chart.
that people want when it comes to Tour de France. Can you
Oh, wow.
play
Look
with
at
the
that. I
platform?
know y'all like that.
So we
He's
had
in
to
the
hire
corner
a
while we
whole
looking
different
at the
group of
chart.
people
Pull the
that
chart.
are in a whole different business to get us in that business.
Let's get him.
I want to ask about what you're seeing in sort of subscriber trends. Long story short, I think we're looking
Pull
at an
the chart.
environment where cord cutting used to be.
Look at the
1 or
bottom
2%.
right now.
Feels like it's going.
Now you
more
telling
sort
me
of 3-4%.
that's
So
not a
with
time to
all that
buy.
As a backdrop, I guess the critical question.
Look
think
at that.
for
We
you
already
is,
have
as
hit
you
the
look at
bottom
your
in the
suite
29th.
of basic cable networks that
At
ride on that
13.17.
big bundle. Do you start
Bounced
to think about
up,
taking
came up,
them
hit
direct to
14,
consumer in a more
hit
aggressive
14.44.
fashion? How are you?
We
approaching
done
that?
slid down now.
Well, first,
to
the ecosystem
$13.99.
outside the U.S. is a little different.
Come
than
on
in.
now, we're gonna find
Outside
support
the
in
US
that
is still
range.
growing, about
And now we're gonna then
1.5%.
continue upwards.
And
What you
it's because
thinking? It's
there's
going
an
down. That's a
entry-level
double top
bundle.
formation.
It's 8, 10,
That is
12,
double top. We got
$15.
resistance here.
outside of the U.S.,
At 1452.
sports is not forced into
And some other
the
key
bundle.
resistance here.
And there is no retransmission consent. And so
At
outside the U.S., you
1485,
have a decline
and
because
some
people are
slight
spending less
resistance
time watching
that
traditional
we've already
TV.
broken through.
But you don't have a
Was
decline in
support.
subscribers.
We tried to bounce off that
And
zone
so
right here.
it's a little bit
In
more
fact, it
stable.
did, but then it took it
Inside
out and
the
sold
US,
off dramatically.
Things could change. We've been hoping for it to change. We're on every skinny bundle. I think that the U.S.
Which should give us, if
is
you
really
do follow
wanting
that Elliott wave,
a skinny
which
bundle.
would give us your
But a
third
skinny
wave.
bundle
1,
is not
2,
skinny
3.
if it's $40 or $50.
And there's your third one. One,
So
two,
the
and here's
real
your
issue
third
that
one,
we
which
have
is the longest
that
wave,
there's too much
which
stuff
now signals that we
that's
should be
being
getting a
leveraged in
movement to the other
this
side.
so-called
If you-
skinny
you know,
bundle.
if you're on
There is no
that
skinny.
Elliott.
There's
I've
no
seen a
such
whole
thing as a skinny
presentation
bundle
on the
with a
Elliott
regional
wave
sports
thing.
network that costs $10. That's just a slam in. And unfortunately, some of the bigger players have enough leverage to force those in. And when
I
you
say
talk to
more
these
follow
skinny
the
bundle
pattern,
distributors,
which
they'll
if you,
say,
it don't
"I
have to do
want
nothing
that."
but no wave,
And
it
look,
follows the pattern. We went
regional
from
sports may get
when
puked
sold, it went to
because it's
support.
very expensive.
It
Viewership
brought
is
off.
low,
It hit
and it may
another
have
range,
kind of tipped
or
over.
basically range of resistance.
If that would happen,
it sold
that would
off.
be a
Now
good
it's
thing for the
oversold,
ecosystem.
so it should
'Cause
have.
think about the market.
Since it's in an oversold position,
Sports
it should
is
go up.
behind retrans. That's a massive grab of economics. Sports is behind multiple
Let's look at
sports
this.
channels
Look at this.
that are
Perfect.
selling,
Come on
in each
now, this
case,
thing is
more than
going
all of
up,
our
bro.
channels combined.
You think this
We're
company
the
is not a
number
real
2 or 3
company?
media company in America, number 1
Oh,
for
man,
women.
this thing
They pay a
bounces and
third
keeps-
of,
come on,
for
man.
us, for all of our
This is
channels,
it,
than they
bro.
do
I put,
for one
dog,
for
you better get you
ESPN
some shares
alone.
of this shit.
So they took it in retrans, they took it in the sports channels, and then they said, you know what? That's not enough. Let's see if we can get some more out of the American consumer. Let's take some of those sports teams and let's create regional sports networks. And then we'll charge $10 on top of that for all those. Now let's stuff it in a bundle and make you take it. That's why we're down 2 to 3. That's why we're down 3%. I mean, it's amazing we're only down 3%. But it's the reason we're only down 3% is the basic cable bundle is a great bundle. There's a lot of amazing stuff on there right now. It's just that it's burdened. And I believe that it's probably going to break. I've been saying that for a while, but I believe it's going to break. I believe it's going to break because consumers are going to say, what the? And they're saying that already. They're saying it with their feet and with their pocketbook. But there's a lot of really clever people out there. Iger's got, he's got a long vision of where the world is going. He's strategically driving that company, and he's got Hulu now. And Hulu has 2 pockets, SVOD and a direct-to-consumer basket. Hulu could say, let's go for scale. No one else is going for scale. Kinsel and Susan at Google, they have a great, great product in YouTube. It's burdened. They could just say, I'm taking some of this stuff off, or they could say, I'm just going to go for scale, and then I'll throw them off the boat. If somebody moves, there will be, the demand exists, and I hope that happens. We're not betting that it happens. If it doesn't happen, we still have a low to mid-single-digit growth business. We're better diversified than anybody else. We have a really unique model because we own all of our content, and the cost of our content is not being bid up by a lot of other players. But it is depressing to see the numbers of what people are watching on some of these skinny bundles and see where the economics are driven. And I don't think it's sustainable, and I don't think it's in the best interest of the industry, and I don't think it's in the best interest of consumers and viewers. We're hurting our own business. Our Go product itself shows that people are so delighted with food and HG and ID and Discovery. They're wide-eyed. They're watching it all day long, and we're monetizing it. But it's only a smaller group, but it's a group of teenagers and 25-year-olds. They're not going to buy a $50 bundle with all that stuff stuffed in.
I wanted to ask you about the advertising markets and what you're seeing currently. There's obviously a lot of cross currents in the economy. U.S. manufacturing slowing down, but the consumer's still fairly strong. We've got trade tensions overseas, Brexit.
You didn't buy no chips?
So there's a lot going on, a lot of uncertainty in many ways. So I was wondering if you could just tell us what you're hearing from your sales force and your customers in terms of the current demand for advertising, both here in the States, but also internationally.
Well, the advertising market in the U.S. is very strong.
Lose some weight, huh?
Probably the strongest it's been that I've seen in 8 years. Volume is up. Pricing is up. I think we got the better end of both of those. Maybe not the best end of the pricing, but we did really well with volume, and we did a lot better with pricing than we thought. And if some of these new products that we developed continue to roll, I think that we're going to see great flow through, and we have a lot of upside, as I mentioned. Some of the international markets are herders, but it's one of the unique things that we have. We're in business in over 200 countries, so when Italy goes into recession and Germany gets soft and the UK stalls, a lot of people would be coming back here, kind of puking up. But we're still going to grow high single. We're in 200 countries, and our share has never been higher. We're growing significant share around the world, at least for us with our international business. We had our international business growing double-digit for about 7 or 8 years. And that goes against a global footprint where GDP was relatively flat. And as many of you know, advertising follows GDP. And so we were earning it. Our share was up 9, 10, 11. We have real good teams driving distribution, and so our overall international business was growing 10, 11, or 12. For 2 years or so, we were relatively flat, but our share was flat. We focused really hard on how do we create more local content in each country around the world. Our Scripps content is working better than we expected, and it's a double saver. We're saving money because we're using Scripps content where we would have bought content to put in a number of slots. And that content is performing better than the content that we were buying, so there's a revenue synergy. So one, this whole idea that we can replace TV money with digital money is just not, at least at the moment, maybe at some point they'll get it fixed. The overall perception and the data is that you move more product when you put it on the screen in the home. Two is, what's the environment? We have the safest environment in America and around the world. There's a wholesomeness to the Discovery content, whether it be Discovery, Animal Planet, Food, HGTV. Around the world, our content, there's no indecent content.
Yeah, and they own HGTV too.
And when you compare selling your product in a television universe, or probably the top of the heap would be us in the Discovery universe, and you compare that with finding out where your content.
That's why you like it so much. They say they got the #1 women viewership.
There's a fear, and there's an overall patina around those companies. 4 years ago, when you bought your kid a Christmas present, you might have bought him a pillow with some of those companies, on the pillow. You're not buying that pillow now. Those companies look different, and they feel different. They're great companies, but they don't have the same feel. And so I think that at least for now, the grip of U.S. TV to move product is still compelling.
Man, good, man.
And we have, with more and more people spending time watching scripted series and scripted movies commercial-free, there's a gravitational pull that I think has been helping us and will continue to help us.
Well, that's great, David. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Drew.
I ain't got enough room in here.
Thank you very much, and good morning, David. Hi. Just a quick scene set then. You've led the company since 2007, since when you have achieved many, many things, not least taking the company to become a Fortune 500. Now the second largest TV company in the States in terms of reach, the first for women, which I know is a fact of which you're very proud. We'll get into the sharp end, the business end shortly, but I wanted to get straight into content. First of all, you've got a hard-hitting series that's coming out to be broadcast globally across 200 countries. It's a collaboration with Steven Spielberg. Before I let you get a word in edgeways, I think we'll start by having a look at it.
Great.
Tell me about the concept and why this is so important to you personally, because obviously in the current political climate, and I've seen it, it's a fascinating series. Why was it important for you?
Well, thank you, Kate, and thanks, Carolyn, for having me. I was here once before. I had a wonderful time, so thank you so much. This started 5 years ago, really out of a conversation that I had with Steven. And I think it goes to a little bit of who we all are, because we have this opportunity to tell stories. And when you tell stories that mean something to you, it's always more powerful. And at Discovery, we get to tell true stories. That's really what we're about. We're not a scripted company. We're telling real stories. And so I said to Stephen, and I'm involved with him in the Shoah Foundation, which is really about this to some extent. It's about understanding and fighting hate. It's about going anywhere where people are discriminated against because of their religion, their ethnicity, their skin color. And a lot of terrible things have happened. But it was really Stephen's idea. I said to him, what is the story that you want to tell? What's the story that when you and I are gone and they come back and they look and they say, who was Stephen and what did he care about? What is that story? And that's the story we should do together. And we can take it with Discovery uniquely everywhere in the world, reach 1 billion people. And he thought about it for really about 2 or 3 seconds, and he said, why we hate. That it's been a fascination of his to understand what is that about us as human beings. And I think it's an extraordinary piece of work because it has Stephen's hands on it. Alex Gibney is a great storyteller. But little did we know, 5 years ago, where we would be, as not just here in the UK or in the US, but everywhere in the world. At least for me, I felt like for most of my life, things were getting better. And we were working toward more respect for other people and everybody having a chance to have their best life. And we just find in the last 5 years that things are much more of a challenge. And hate is significantly on the rise. Hate of
hateration. Hateration. I zoom in on this. Why you motherfuckers keep
on skin color, hate of different people for
hate of a
their
motherfucker being
religious beliefs.
lavish.
So I think that this is really a great moment, and we hope that it begins a dialogue. That's what we try and do, begins a dialogue, and maybe has an impact.
I wanted to pick up on that because I know you've been acknowledged for your philanthropic work, and I know you're very proud of the conservation work that you do at Discovery too. I was involved in a documentary, Racing Extinction, with you a number of years ago. How much of your personal passion and your values shaped the company and what you've done since you've been at the helm?
Well, it's why I came to Discovery. I was at NBC, which is a great company, running their cable group, and this opportunity to come to Discovery, it's a bit of a different company because we have a voice, we tell true stories, we have 10 to 12 channels in every country, and we have a chance to really have an impact. And John Malone and the Newhouse family talked to me at the time about really being able to, that their value of Discovery was that we could do well, but we could also do good. And it is a different company. We launched science channels in every country. A lot of you produce great content for us in the science genre. We lose money on most of those channels, but we're doing it because we think having great science content everywhere in the world makes a difference. And there's a lot that we do to create economic value, but we have platforms and we get to work with you and tell stories that really have an impact. Tim Davey is here, and we've collaborated over many, many years, but I was extraordinarily impressed with or blown away really by the idea that Blue Planet, the final episode of Blue Planet talked about plastics in the ocean. And the reaction to that here in the UK gave rise to Theresa May changing the laws on plastics, and then the EU changed it. And that was the moment when I said, we have to go all in. And we went and structured a very broad collaboration now with the BBC where we will own, outside of the UK, all of the natural history and science content for over the top. And the real reason that we're doing that is we have all of our content from Discovery, Animal Planet, and Science. We have all of Tim's content. We're creating more content, original content together over the next 10 plus years. But our ambition is that we're going to document the planet together, and that maybe we could have a meaningful impact. It is probably the most important issue that we're facing. And if we can tell stories like Tim was able to do with his team in Attenborough, and we could tell more of those stories, that we could have an impact.
So how do you protect that when there's so much consolidation, when you've got the big media visionaries, Rupert Murdoch selling, when you've got Scripps selling to you? There are people asking, so when is Discovery up for sale? How do you protect what you've built up and that 10-year vision? And are you going to be up for sale in the next 10 years?
I hope not, because I love Discovery. But we're at a very interesting time. And we've chosen a path that's quite differentiated, and we feel good about it. We need all of your help, because it's really going to be about creating great content. But we're a very different company than everybody else. And I do think there'll be more consolidation. And I understand why Rupert raised his hand and said that we're not big enough, so we want to be part of Disney. And I understand why Jeff Bewkes said, I'm worried about the future. I'm not sure we're big enough, so I'm going to sell to AT&T. And I think it really relates to the idea of, if you're going to be in the general entertainment, scripted and movie business, then you have to have a massive amount of content. And if you're going to put that together and ask somebody to pay $5, $6, $15, and you want to get 100 million people, 150 million people, you need an awful lot of stuff, because you're trying to appeal to everyone. 750 million people here in Europe, hey, look what I got. I have scripted series and I have scripted movies. But there's 8 people doing that. And 8 great companies, maybe in the end there'll only be 4 of them, because they're going to have to buy each other, because it's going to get so confusing. But ultimately, people love scripted series and scripted movies, and there will be a few of those that are successful. That's not who we are. And I think that gives us a unique advantage. We're out of that business. The business that we're in is, we want to be in niches that people are passionate about. And the filter for us was, when we started in this business, all of us, is how do we create content that we could put on at 8 or 9 o'clock on a cable channel and just allocate it out. Then all of a sudden people could watch anything. So then people are asking, we ask the question, JB and I all the time, do we have content, what content do we have that people will watch before, but we think a much higher bar, which is, what will people pay for? What content or stories will people pay for before they pay for dinner? And that's the filter. That's why we bought all the golf in the world outside of the US. That's why we own most of the cycling in the world, and our ambition is to own all the cycling. That's why we now have the majority of the science, natural history, environmental content, along with all the great brands that Tim and Discovery have created. Because yes, I may want to see my scripted series. I want to see Miss Maisel. I want to see Chernobyl. I want to see Game of Thrones. But I still love golf. And I still love cycling. I still love science and natural history. I still love food. I'm in the kitchen. I want to figure out what are the right recipes. I love home. And so for us, we think that they have to continue to fight, because they're splitting it 8 ways. But we own almost all the food content in the world, almost all the home content in the world. We own all the golf content in the world. And that is going to create, massive value over time, to go into a country like China and say, if you want to see golf, we have it all. That's how we want to create value, and we're just going to lean aside and let the rest of those guys have their way with each other. And you saw it, this week, Big Bang and Seinfeld, massive old series, massive checks. You know what that says? Holy shit, we're in trouble. We don't have enough. What are the
about to start a new one. I done found something else. An illusion.
Yesterday, today, tomorrow are not consecutive. They are connected in a never-ending circle. Everything is connected.
Most it. guess I'll rewind it back to this my drink anyway. I just was seeing what we had here. This is alright. I was thinking to myself, would you? I want to see this. I guess what came to my mind is I guess I want a sci-fi horror movie, like how Starship Troopers is, how the other one. But I kind of want to because when you watch this movie, when you watch it start, I said to speaker, I said because this is kind of like a different kind of horror. It's like me and you in the house or something kind of horror. I guess I want a better baseline story to build off of in the horror. Because like I like that goes to you know what I mean? You can still have this kind of like psychopathic, whatever I would call social horror, where somebody's trying to kill another person, or you can go this direction of ET's coming inbound, or you know what I mean, like it's, you know what I mean. There's different ways you can go. Oh, sorry. You didn't move at all. Leave the fuck. You fucking fat fuckery. What the fuck is wrong with you? You fucking goddamn. That's what I'm saying. You move your leg, but you still run into me. Oh yeah, because you didn't fucking move. Nobody can run into you if you move. You like them stupid people in the traffic. Can't cause no accident unless you the accident. So I want a sci-fi movie. I want sci-fi horror. I want to be in space like Aliens or Pandora. Like Pandora's a good one where there was no aliens. In the end, it just ended up being they was killing each other on the ship.
Ready.
I like that thing,
Go
I like
ahead.
that style. I'm kind of feel like this is played out. This Jason shit or Michael Myers.
In the rear with CV ready.
No, but it don't have to be aliens. Like I say, I don't know if you ever seen the movie Pandora. Let me see if I can find it. If it's on there, Pandora. That's a good movie.
Additional supply details required.
It don't end up, you know what I mean? That was a real good one. See, they don't have it. But you see how the other movies that came up like it, like our platform movie. You see what I mean? Like that John Dog, that was a good ass movie. Pandorum, that's a horror movie. Notice how they don't got that bitch on it. Yeah, that's a real movie. That you all wish you could have a movie like that. Yeah, I mean that's one of them ones like what I guess a psychological. That shit crazy. One of them kind of ones. But you in space. See, I like that. I like this. I like that. So I guess you gotta pick your scenery. I want that scenery. And now pick what kind of I want it. Because you can have a love story in space. What's that? Pandora. Yeah, that's something else from Chinese people. This is Pandorum. Yeah, Pandorum. Yeah, they don't got that done. It's a space movie. They in space like these people. But it's like the platform. So it's like social. It's like a social. See, that's what I'm saying. It's not aliens. See, you can go aliens if you in space, where you can go ET, where there's actually an extraterrestrial biological entity attacking the crew, or you know what I mean. You can go social, where like the
Bad
crew is
news?
now like having social breakdowns because they're marooned in space, and now it's like children. What's that one movie
Move
with
it.
the kids on the island? It's like Children of Men or whatever.
What's going
Is that
on?
what it's called? Not sure. That old movie. Where they having like a social construct issue. That movie. So you can have something like that, or you can actually have like an alien world where we got some alien conflict, or you can have an alien movie like you see a lot of times where it's an action alien movie. It's not really a horror alien movie. It's like lasers. He ends up befriending an alien. Next thing you know they having sex with the alien. So you can have you've seen movies like that. I guarantee you that's what this movie is. If we watch this one, this ain't no horror movie. This gonna be sci-fi like Star Trek. You see what I mean? That's another kind of drama alien movie where it ain't even horror. It's more of a drama, TV, real life housewife of being with aliens. So you can take the genre and go different ways with it. So I want sci-fi with, and I don't know if I want to go alien or if I want to go, I don't know. What's an old movie? Something with islands and shit. I really have no idea what the name is. I just know it's about the kids and they basically, have making their own rules and law and they killing old people. Or something like this, Beyond Skyline. This is an action alien movie where it's got aliens in it, but it ain't no. It's like Independence Day. Independence Day was an action alien movie where it wasn't a horror alien movie. Aliens were but just like, come on, we gotta get it together. Or Starship Troopers, another one. That was another action alien movie where it was like aliens were the person, whatever antagonist. It wasn't a horror movie like Aliens, the movie Sigourney Weaver.
Well, butter
It was
my
actually a
biscuit.
horror movie and aliens were. You know,
Yeah.
So, that's what I mean by that. So I do want to have
Yeah.
I don't know where I want to go with it.
We hear you. You're the boss.
So that's what I want to do. Because that Kill and Peele movie, he kind of went. What was that first one? He been kind of doing weird shit, weird satanic kind of shit. I kind of want to make a movie like that too, like As Above, So Below, kind of like this movie, The Ritual. I know is like that. I've seen this one where it's like a satanic kind of dealio, like you stumble over, find a relic or something, you find strange symbols on the ground. All of a sudden, it's, what the fuck Ouija, we fucking with the dark arts. I want a movie like that too, like.
Go ahead. SCV ready.
What the fuck kind of movie? Shit. I want an all shit kind of movie, and I want a what the fuck kind of movie. Where it's just like the whole time you watching it, you what the fuck. That's more of a different feeling than an all shit kind of movie where you feel like you on the that was an all shit movie. Like, damn, every time you turn around. Because that thing up aboard, the air wasn't messing with it. I didn't fight people. Like, oh my god. And you out in the middle of space when you're supposed to be being real cool. You're supposed to be keeping this thing ice cold right now because anything, we end up really stuck out here. What is this Eli? It's kind of acting. Kind of dystopian. I'm talking like Mad Max. It's kind of like a Judge Dredd was a dystopian kind of movie. So you got dystopian kind of movie. So I would say Blade Runner is a dystopian kind of movie. Recall kind of dystopian. So you have, I want to make a dystopian series. But nah, I'm not super pressed. Cause if I make an aliens movie, I like the Predators. I would want to go to that genre. I would love to make an Alien vs Predator movie, and get my turn to be on that project. You know what I mean? Because everybody's been on that project. I would love to have my turn to. You know what I mean? I'm wondering what I would do. What would I do with that project? I would take you to the Predator homeworld. Alien invasion. The aliens are now. One of the predators have now taken the alien egg back to the Predator homeworld by accident. Thinking he cute. And now he done started to, as an alien, all you need is one egg. And it's another Sigourney Weaver type of situation. Then they gotta clone Sigourney Weaver and bring her back from the dead. Or something like that. I don't know, cause is she too old? This might be her last ride. Cause that'd be cool. That would be super epic for the ages. Then they can't figure out what to do, so they gotta go get Danny Glover, cause he the only nigga that ever really wants head up. So they gotta look up the files and go through the time files and see, damn, whoever fought these niggas. Oh man, well there was this one nigga in 1986, and then we gotta zoom back to Danny Glover. But Danny Glover's movie, that was the best Predator to me. Predator 2 with Danny Glover, that was the one with the Jamaicans and shit. He was cutting up people. Motherfucking the Jamaicans thought the Predator was a voodoo monster halfway through the movie. Oh, this shit almost want me on. I think they just fight their way out, if I'm not mistaken. And then she falls down the hole, but I don't know, it kind of sets the drama. I don't know. That shit, they be trying to kill him, man. See, this is a whole little scene. They run to the wall right here. Little robots are shooting. The pet man. DARPA. But yet they say that's for humanity. And then they say you crazy for not knowing that. We all know them things are gonna be made to kill people. Every movie, everything you've seen. So she falls and then he wake up. As I said, I was like, this movie, I'm like, they trying to have you Total Recall. Damn it, but you trying to watch Total Recall, you gonna end up they flashy thinging you. We see this in every movie, in everything. Well, and I really want to study the old ways of how they did the movies, because they really did movies better than. Like even if you watch Total Recall, the first one, there was a lead up. They didn't just go straight into the damn bitch in the bed talking to him. That would have been the third scene. I guess they started off with the little action flashy thing. But even then, that shouldn't have been the start of the movie either. Movies were really movies now. He heard about it, and then he got the brochure, and then he went to the place. And then they Total Recalled him. It was a whole movie. This shit is just like wham bam, thank you ma'am, lobotomize you. Thank you for your money. Yeah, damn. Yeah. I'm looking at this. He got a little skinny little pussy and shit all in my TV on my TV. Like a nigga wanna fuck that skinny bitch. They be acting like that shit is sexy. That shit is gross to me. She really ain't got no body. Skinny ain't pretty. What make you think? What the fuck? I want a little skinny bitch like that's what she look like. What the hell? But that ain't. She was naked and it wasn't even sexy. She literally was in her fucking panties with her pussy in the screen HD, and it kind of looked a little gross. Like, bitch, you should put them baggy pants on and get out of here. You gross. You gross looking work, bitch. Nobody's fucking that. Who's aroused by that shit? Creepy ass white boys that be murdering people. Cause they in the that's all that is. They be fantasizing that's a little girl because they know they can't touch a little girl. They go, can you put your little girl panties on something like that? Little freak. Yeah, cause that's some weird shit. I mean, whatever, less than that, fucking, yeah. Who? Oh, that was a whole nother conspiracy. That's the whole Olympic Commission doing that. They got a little sex ranch that they were sending them girls into.
Big job, huh?
Yeah, it was a big deal.
You're the boss.
They covered that up and made it look like
We hear you.
that was what it was.
SCV ready. I can't build here. Yes, sir.
Vespine geyser required for placement.
SCV ready. I can't build here.
Not enough minerals. Additional supply depots required.
Woo-hoo! Overtime. SCV ready. This is your plan. SCV ready.
Not enough minerals.
Gotcha. I'm going. This is crazy. Ah! You scared me. Yeah. It's your dime. Bad news? We hear you. Go ahead.
Insufficient Vespine gas.
Sure thing. SCV ready. In the rear with the... Ah! You scared me. Big job, huh? Roger. SCV ready. What's going on?
Insufficient Vespine gas.
SCV ready.
Insufficient Vespine gas. Insufficient Vespine gas. Insufficient
SCV
Vespine
ready.
gas. Add-on complete.
Uh-huh. SCV ready. SCV ready. Go ahead. Want a piece of me, boy? Armed and ready.
Add-on complete.
This better be good. What's going on?
Add-on complete.
Want a piece of me, boy?
Insufficient Vespene gas. Upgrade complete.
Who wants some?
Additional supply depots required.
Ready to roll out. Roll it out. Sure does, Sparky. Lay it on me.
Additional supply depots required. Additional supply depots required.
Been waiting on this. That's a negatory. It's blocked. Go ahead. Yep.
Insufficient Vespene gas. Add-on complete.
Something in the way.
Insufficient Vespene gas.
I'm going. I can't build here. I can't build here. What's our target? Right, go! Armed and ready.
Mineral field depleted.
I feel you. Orders received. I can't build here. Yo. By the numbers, boys. Sure. This better be good. You gonna give me orders?
Mineral field depleted.
Need something blown up? Fused up, ready to go. Yeah.
Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals.
Ready to roll out. SCV
Upgrade complete.
by the numbers, boys. SCV your best shot. SCV ready.
Mineral field.
SCV ready. Absolutely. SCV ready. Ready to plunder. SCV ready. Bad news? Will do. What's going on? SCV ready. SCV ready. Big job, huh? Go ahead. Yep. Ready to plunder. SCV ready.
Additional supply depots. Not enough minerals.
Ah! You scared me!
Additional supply depots required. Not enough minerals. Additional supply depots. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Additional supply depots required.
Huh? SCV ready. Go, go, go! Gangway, coming through.
Not enough
SCV
minerals.
ready.
Add-on complete. Additional supply depots required.
Will do. Can't hold them alone.
Not enough. Additional supply depots required.
You gonna give me orders? That's fine. Can't wait. In the rear with the gear. Ah!
Mineral
You
field
scared me.
depleted.
Ready to plunder.
Not enough minerals.
Ready to plunder. SCV ready. Can't hold them alone.
No, it ain't even close to this. No, it look like the world done gone. But they call us niggers and kill us and shit, but they
Ready to plunder.
Honesty.
Not enough.
Ready to plunder. Can't hold them alone. Huh?
Wouldn't have to do this talk.
Yeah.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Ready to plunder. Ready to plunder. Yeah, can't hold them alone. In the rear with the gear. I can't build here.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Ready to plunder. Can't hold them alone.
Research complete.
All right. Bold. Can't hold them alone.
Base is under attack.
Can't hold them alone. Yeah, whatever. You gonna give me orders?
Research complete.
Aye, aye, sir. Let's get into the fight. Certainly. Can't hold them alone.
Upgrade complete.
Yes, indeed.
Insufficient Vespine gas. Insufficient Vespine gas. Nuclear missile ready.
VTOL engaged. Ha-ha! Agreed. Can't hold them alone. Give us your best shot!
Mineral field depleted.
Ready to plunder. Got it. Can't hold them alone.
Mineral field depleted.
Lay it on.
Mineral field.
I won that. It worked again. I'll be whittling them down now through the defense, Reed.
Upgrade complete.
I just won another match. All I did was swing some units and hit the back of the base. He killed them units. I said, let me bring out some real units. Next thing you know, he quit. Okay, God. Now,
It's on! Been waiting on you. Armed and ready.
That's what I say. I be taking it easy now. I be telling you.
Keep your
I
shirt
don't
on,
war with
Sparky.
these people, man.
Why not?
Well, because then I can't control myself. I mean, next thing you know, Reed. What you done now? What you done now?
You gonna give me orders? Yes, sir.
Mineral field depleted.
I'm on it. Why not? Over to it.
Mineral field depleted.
Gateway. Coming
Mineral
through.
field depleted.
Speak up. By the number.
Mineral field depleted.
Give us your best shot. This better be good. Got no faith. Been waiting on you. Give me orders. Who wants some? Speak up. Get 'em. You head out here. Armed and ready.
Man, I just came up with a new technique, Reed. Uh-oh, demon technique. I can see it. Kind of had that weird little shimmer look. You see through, but it ain't. You can see something there. So now I put my units there, and I targeted that area and blew them up that way. New technique. Worst case scenario. I remember Total Recall being like this. the dystopia though. They want to show you a little bit more what it looked like. See how y'all living. I show you this all the time. This ain't no metaphor. They know this is where society ends up. They're still controlling y'all with the fake news, even in the future, cyber news. I'm looking for his gun. That was good. Now he got a conspiracy theory. Oh, so Total Recall is about being a Manchurian candidate? And then turn him into a killer. Baby girl, man. Bought out the aeronautical division. Once I bought out the aeronauticals. I bought out the aeronautical. She trying to kill me. I know somebody like me and my ex-girlfriend. I mean, that's why they did that. Damn that. I am the Total Recall. I'm not even your girl. I'm not even your bitch. I need that. I'm not even your bitch. That's how girls be talking these days. It's a disrespect. I'm not even your care. What you thought this was? You just thought you were fucking me? And you thought that mean I was your girl just because you had sex with me? That doesn't mean that. That just means I just liked you. Just wanted to have fun with you.
Bad news?
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Oh my God, see? Wow, she trying to say I'm out of your league. These hoes really be thinking they out of somebody's league. You banged it. You girls will be lucky to have a man in your life that got a vision and want to be something. You
Big
fucking
job,
dumb
huh?
bitch. I'm out of
SCV
your
ready.
league. You fucking bitch. You ain't out of my league.
What's
You ain't
going
nothing but a
on?
dime a dozen. I can walk down the street every time I turn around. I can see a half-naked bitch with her titties out and a bad attitude, going absolutely fucking nowhere.
Additional supply
Fuck out of
depots
here. But
required.
but walk around and see how many niggas you see
Your
like
dime.
with their bitch trying to
In the
accelerate.
rear with the
That ain't
gear.
bald-headed. One of your fake-ass Uncle
here.
Tom-ass niggas that'll sell you to the white man for an extra $1 bill. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, them niggas, of course, they doing well and well off.
What's
They
going
ain't
on?
nothing but some sellout-ass motherfucker Jerry. Fuck out of here, nigga.
Move it.
But show some real niggas like me. Anybody you see like me is in the penitentiary.
Not enough minerals.
Trying to fight and shit.
Not
After they
enough
die,
minerals.
Stretching to survive. Ain't nothing wrong with it. That's what it is.
Roger.
Let's keep it real. Let's just keep it real. Let's just keep it real, man. I'm really doing it out here.
Go ahead.
I really represent it for the La Familia La Cosa Nostra.
Huh? Yo.
Not enough minerals. 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 Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals.
Ah! You scared me. In the rear with
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Somebody got their neck shot.
bad news. SCV ready. Huh? Big job, huh? Go ahead. SCV ready.
Really be the leader of that shit. I don't know what being a girl, man.
SCV ready.
Is she getting brainwashed by other girls? That's the only thing I can think of. Girls really believe they think that they doing you a favor or some shit. Like,
SCV ready.
Like, you really think it? And you can really be with a girl, somebody like me? Would I ever want to be with somebody like you? Like, so who would you be with then if you ain't gonna be with somebody like me? You stupid fucking girl. These hoes be delusional, bro. That's what they be. They got a princess complex. They keep thinking some knight in shining armor is destined to them, and then he just gonna sweep them off their feet or some shit. But they just were born out of a vagina themselves or some shit. They just all of a sudden and they doing you a favor. I'm only with you until my knight in shining armor comes around, and then you know, like, bitch, are you
SCV ready.
crazy girl, you.
In the rear with the gear.
That's how they be acting too, bro. Straight up.
Well, butter my biscuit.
They really be acting like that, bro.
Add-on
Boss.
complete.
Come on now.
What's going on?
Now, if girls
Bad
did
news.
all the things that men are supposed to be doing for girls, then I can see that
SCV
energy.
ready.
Only a guy really has the right to have that mentality. It's the guy that got to do all the providing and all that, this, that, and the third. So if anything, that's the person who would have the arrogance with
Command
you.
center up.
I'm the
SCV
one.
ready.
Come on, let's be real. You just the damn baby maker.
Yeah.
And I'm the one that make the baby with you. You just pump them out and hold them. And I gotta defend you, or that shit won't go smoothly.
SCV
Now
ready.
you're not a kid all fucked up, cause you know what I mean. Come on, let's be realistic. It's a lot on the father. We not ants, we not bees, we not in some woman matriarch dominated type of
Go
society
ahead.
where the
SCV
woman
ready.
we were in a human society and men dominate the human society. Now we were antelopes or
SCV ready.
jackalopes or another kind of animal where the females control. Like I seen one the other day, them big ass birds. The
SCV
female is
ready.
the big bird, and the men stay home and they roost and do all the womanly things that you would associate with
SCV
being
ready.
a woman. But the men do. But we not that kind of species, man. The women are the dainty one that need to protect and that need to defend and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The nurturing ones that protect the baby, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The men are the hard ones that are out there defending, being ruthless, fighting wars, et cetera, et cetera. Come on, man. That's how this shit works, bruh.
SCV ready.
ladies need men. Men don't need no ladies. I can be a bachelor my whole life, and you see it happen all the time. Bezos, all these rich men, nigga, they only fuck up when they go get linked up with a bitch because he's been alone so long. You end up being like, whatever, I married one of these hoes. Other than that, you could be a single bachelor forever. But females need a man. Or you can end up being an old hag, an old maid with no man in your life. Think about what kind of bitch you could be. You motherfucker, you ain't had Carl running around over there trying to pick you up every Saturday. You be looking stupid.
Add-on complete. Research complete.
I'm trying to be mean. I know y'all say I'm being mean. Here we go. That's not me being mean, bro. If it come up, I'm just keeping it 300 delete.
SCV ready.
I'm just not saying it softly, because we're not talking about nothing soft. If we were talking about something softly, I would say it's softly. If we were saying something that was whatever in that manner, that was about being lollipoppy, I would be lollipoppy. So we're talking about real serious business, because this is real life. It's real life. Because as you can see, it's on TV. You got women besmirching men. That's besmirchment or some shit. That shit hella disrespectful.
You're the boss.
And then it really pays out if you watch Billy and these other places.
You hear me? SCV ready. SCV ready.
Mineral field completed.
What's going on? SCV ready. SCV ready. Bad news. Go ahead. Want a piece of me, boy? Huh? I can't build here.
Mineral field.
I can't build here. Big job, huh? Roger. Will do. You scared me.
Research.
Ready to roll out. Bad news.
Base is under attack.
I can't build here.
Additional supply depots required.
In the rear with the gear. I can't build.
Mineral field depleted.
Big
Additional
job,
supply
huh?
depots required. Base is under attack. Research complete.
Hear me. Yep. What's going on? Go ahead. Huh? I can't build here.
Not enough minerals. Mineral field depleted.
In the rear with the gear. Yeah. Big job, huh? This better be good. I can't build here. Gotcha. Roger. I can't build here.
Not enough.
Want a piece of me, boy?
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
The Grim Reaper has arrived. Who wants some?
Our SCVs are under attack.
Armed and ready. In the rear with the gear. I can't build here.
Not enough minerals. Base is under attack.
Yo. This better be good. Gangway, coming through. Been waiting on you. Huh? Bad
Command
news?
center upgrade complete.
You're awesome. Yeah. Move it. Yep.
Not enough minerals.
Ah! You scared me.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
This better be good. You gonna give me orders? What's going on? Go ahead. Your thing. Your dime. Go. Gotcha. Who wants some?
Our SCVs are under attack. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Base is under attack. Not enough minerals.
Ah! You scared me.
Base is under not attack. Enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Gangway, coming through.
Mineral field depleted.
Armed and ready. Bad news? I can't.
Base is under attack. Not enough minerals.
Go ahead. Big job, huh? In the rear with the gear.
That was a lame loss. It wasn't like, you know, that's on the. I was like, it was ugly loss. That's like the mechanics of the game that killed you right there. Okay, baby. Are we gonna end the stream right here? Let's end it and send it.